Hey everyone, welcome back to Stoic Thrive. If you're new to the channel, I'm so glad you found us. We dive deep into Stoic wisdom here, using it to guide our lives toward a path of better decision-making, self-mastery, and genuine relationships. If you're on that journey, please do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you never miss a chance to improve yourself. In today's video, I'm going to talk about something we all need to check ourselves on from time to time. 4 toxic habits that make people lose respect for you. These habits can sneak into our lives without us realizing, and before we know it, they've damaged the way others see us. But here's the good news, they're all fixable. And the Stoics, they've got the answers. They didn't just teach us how to endure hardship, they taught us how to be dignified in our relationships with others, and how to show up as our best selves every day. So, let's get into it. I'll also share some personal experiences, because, let's be honest, I've been guilty of some of these habits myself. It's all about progress, not perfection. 1. Gossiping, the hidden poison that destroys trust. Gossip is one of those habits that starts small but can quickly snowball into something far more destructive. It's easy, it feels harmless, and in some cases, it even feels like bonding. You're in a conversation, someone brings up a shared acquaintance, and suddenly you're all involved in the story of their flaws, mistakes, or misfortunes. It feels good in the moment, doesn't it? Like you're sharing something real and authentic. But here's the thing, every time you gossip, you're doing more than just talking about someone. You're making a statement about your own character. You see, gossip isn't just about the person you're talking about, it's about what your words say about you. When you speak poorly of others, even if it's just between friends, you betray something deep within yourself. Your own integrity. Stoicism teaches us that our actions, big or small, reveal our true nature. The Stoics valued truth, wisdom, and integrity, and gossip completely contradicts those values. The most powerful realization for me came when I looked around and realized. The people I respected the most, those who had a quiet strength, who had a calm wisdom, were the ones who never, ever gossiped. They didn't engage in rumors, they didn't talk badly about others behind their backs, and they didn't indulge in negativity. They chose their words carefully. They didn't need to tear others down to feel good about themselves. Instead, they used their speech to uplift, to build, and to communicate their own values. And it made me see. That's who I wanted to be. So I made a rule for myself. If I wouldn't say it to someone's face, I wouldn't say it at all. That's a hard rule to live by. But over time, I began to notice a huge shift, not just in how others saw me, but in how I felt about myself. I wasn't complicit in bringing negativity into my relationships anymore. I was more trustworthy. And I was more at peace with my own character. The Stoics also remind us that our time on this earth is limited. And, frankly, gossip is a waste of time. Why spend your energy discussing someone else's faults when you could focus on your own growth and the things that truly matter? Gossip not only steals your time, but it diminishes the value of the relationships you have with others. When people hear you gossip, they start to wonder what you might say about them when they're not around. To earn respect, you have to be the kind of person who respects others, always, even in their absence. 2. Being unreliable, the slow death of trust. One of the quickest ways to lose respect from others is by being unreliable. When you break promises or fail to follow through on commitments, no matter how small, you're telling people that they can't depend on you. This doesn't just impact your reputation, it slowly damages your character as well. Reliability isn't just about showing up when it's convenient for you, it's about being consistent and dependable, no matter the circumstances. In Stoicism, reliability is a cornerstone of personal integrity. When you make a commitment, whether to a friend, a colleague, or even to yourself, you must do everything in your power to keep that promise. Your word is a reflection of your honor, and once that trust is broken, it's incredibly hard to rebuild. I've learned this lesson the hard way. I remember a time when I was constantly saying yes to things I didn't really have time for, just to avoid disappointing anyone or missing out on opportunities. At first, it felt like I was impressing people with how much I could handle. But then I started missing deadlines, showing up late, and canceling plans last minute. And it hit me. When I said yes, I didn't mean it. I was just saying what I thought people wanted to hear. One of the most powerful principles in Stoicism is that you should always strive to be true to your word, and you should never promise what you can't deliver. And this isn't just for the big things in life, it's for the little things too. If you commit to something, follow through. Even if it means saying no to something else, even if it's uncomfortable, and even if it requires a sacrifice of time or energy. People respect consistency. They respect reliability. And ultimately, that respect will come back to you in ways that matter. Since then, I've made it a point to be intentional about the commitments I take on. If I say yes, it's because I'm ready and willing to give my full attention to it. If I can't give my full effort, I'll politely decline. In the end, people appreciate honesty and reliability far more than an empty promise. The lesson here: be the kind of person who keeps their word. Over time, that's what earns you respect and trust, both in your personal relationships and in your career. 3. Interrupting others, the subtle dismissal of another's voice. Interrupting someone might seem like a small thing, but it sends a huge message. What I have to say is more important than what you have to say. And when this happens repeatedly, it begins to erode the foundation of the relationship, because the person being interrupted feels dismissed, unseen, and unheard. The Stoics were masters of listening. They didn't interrupt. They didn't rush to respond. Instead, they focused on hearing not just the words, but the meaning behind those words. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most revered Stoic philosophers, wrote that the greatest wealth is to live content with little. And this wealth of wisdom includes learning to be content in the silence, in the space where someone else's voice fills the room, without your need to dominate that conversation. I used to interrupt people without thinking. It wasn't that I thought my thoughts were more important, it was just a habit. I was eager to share my own experiences, my own thoughts, and I would jump in before the other person had finished speaking. But I noticed something. The more I interrupted, the less people wanted to talk to me. They'd look frustrated or even avoid sharing anything with me altogether. I decided to change. I started practicing active listening. Instead of focusing on what I was going to say next, I focused on hearing the person fully. And when they finished, I didn't rush in with my own thoughts. I paused. I gave space. I asked more questions. And that simple shift turned my relationships around. People felt valued, and I learned a lot more than I would have by just talking. Listening is a gift. It shows people you care. It shows respect. It shows that you're willing to set your own ego aside for a moment to truly connect with them. And when you give someone that kind of respect, they'll begin to see you as a person of value. 4. Complaining, the habit that weakens the spirit. Complaining is something we all do from time to time. Life isn't always easy, and venting can feel like a temporary release. But when complaining becomes a habit, it becomes toxic. Constantly focusing on what's wrong in your life drains the energy from your own spirit, and it drains the energy of those around you as well. The Stoics believed that our power lies in how we respond to life's challenges. They taught us to focus not on what we can't control, but on what we can. It's easy to get caught up in the why me mentality, but that doesn't serve you. And it definitely doesn't earn you respect. I used to complain about everything. It was my way of dealing with stress, frustration, and disappointment. But over time, I realized that complaining only made me feel more powerless. It didn't change the situation. It didn't help me find a solution. It just kept me stuck in negativity. So, I decided to make a change. Instead of complaining, I began asking myself, what can I do about this? And instead of blaming others or circumstances, I started focusing on the actions I could take to make things better. I started keeping a gratitude journal, focusing on the things that were going well, and looking for solutions instead of problems. Slowly but surely, my mindset shifted. I felt lighter. I felt empowered. And I noticed that my conversations began to shift from complaints to ideas, from frustration to solutions. People began to respect me more, not because I was perfect, but because I stopped playing the victim. I was taking responsibility for my own life, and that earned me not just respect, but a sense of pride in myself. There you have it, 4 habits that silently rob you of respect, both from others and from yourself. Gossip, unreliability, interrupting, and complaining, these are habits that all of us can fall into, but they're not permanent. You can choose today to drop them and replace them with actions that reflect the person you want to be. If this video resonated with you, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to Stoic Thrive, and share it with someone who might need this reminder too. Every small step counts when it comes to improving your character and building better relationships. Thanks for watching, and remember, live with purpose, and thrive with virtue.